Welcome to the Cincy Postcast. I'm Kevin Wallace, and before we get started with today's episode, I want to tell you about our good friends, Street Side Brewery. My goodness, my favorite brewery in Cincinnati, and I think it should be your favorite brewery in Cincinnati. They are located in the Columbia Tusculum neighborhood of Cincinnati, and they are brewing up some delicious beers. Okay, they have every style, every variety. They have constant, amazing releases. I got to tell you, the artwork on their cans is good enough to get me to buy anything that they are making. Okay. You throw that in there along with an incredible location. The fact that they have FC Cincinnati games home and away, but in particular, is my favorite place for away matches. They are pub partners. It is a really, really good time. Go check them out if you haven't. It is a good spot to be. I love them there, and you should be checking them out as well. So a huge thank you to Street Side for sponsoring this and so many other episodes of the Cincy Postcast. And on this postcast, wow, there is so much to talk about. FC Cincinnati is making so many moves. We try to get around all of that in part one, okay? We do our best to give you the rundown of the deals so that you can explain it to the folks in your life who are asking, hey, what the heck's going on with the team? I'm seeing a lot of new names bouncing around, and I'm seeing a couple of names leave. And why did we get money for Thomas Muller? What happened there? We got you covered, okay? In part two, we were actually able to ring up a European scout to talk to him about one of FC Cincinnati's newer players, okay? We got to figure out what's going on. I'm not going to pretend to be watching Slovakian soccer, okay? But this guy has. So that is amazing, okay? We got some good stuff going for you there. We wrap it all up in part three. We're looking ahead at the next couple of matches. And if you're looking for a Charlotte prediction, you're in the wrong spot. Okay, we're predicting a completely different match. And no, I'm not even talking about Chivas. Put it all together. You got yourselves an all-timer postcast. Joining me to talk about all of that and more, I am joined by two gentlemen who will also be at Northern Row on Sunday, starting roughly around 2 or 2:30 p.m. I am joined by the Chief, and I am joined by Grayson. Grayson, we joked about it last time, but we have it now. We have the Epstein. No, we have the guest list. We're not that big of a podcast. We don't have that big of a scoop. We have a guest list, and I could not be more excited.
Well, what do we got? Who's going to be there?
Let's stop before with say that we are hosting, for those who missed the episode or missed the announcement, we are hosting, and we are honored to be hosting and partnering with the Pride, one of the Cincinnati supporters groups, FC Cincinnati supporters group, the oldest and the original FC Cincinnati supporters group, for their pregame at Northern Row this coming Sunday prior to the FC Cincinnati 10th anniversary game against Charlotte FC. We will be present at Northern Row Distilling and Brewing, hosting a live episode of the postcast.
Is it a live episode of the postcast? Or
sure. Yeah, no, it is because we're not going to record on Sunday night. This is definitely going out on Monday. So,
are we recording this?
I will record this. Yes.
Yeah, okay, great.
Because we're not recording on Sunday night.
I don't know if I can commit to 12 hours of FCC between being at the event, watching the game, the alumni game, and then recording a whole podcast.
Yeah, no,
very good.
This is going out as an episode. So whether we intend it or not, this is going to be a live episode of the show. At Northern Row prior to the march and the match starting at between 2 and 2:30. Time TBA. Check out the Twitter account, the Discord for the official start time.
Yes.
Get down there early because this is going to be fun. Kevin, who do we have lined up as a guest or guests for this event that you will not want to miss?
This is pretty cool. So
only list the ones that you won't want to miss.
Okay.
You're not going to want to miss any of these guys. Let's be real here.
No. You only don't want to miss Jeff Birding. And I'm not kidding. That is a real thing that apparently Jeff Birding is going to be able to stop by. We're going to get to talk to Jeff for a little bit. So that will be fun. It'll be a little nerve wracking, to be perfectly honest with you, because we could really make or break the future of the podcast there if we really mess this up. But
we can only break it.
That's a good point.
Yeah,
actually.
we can't make it. There's nothing to make here. Let's be real.
I guess make is to not break. So
maintain. We either maintain or whatever this is.
The podcast.
Right.
But after Jeff, it looks like we're going to be able to talk to some of the Pride current and past leadership, talk about some good old stories about the good old days. And then we've got a number of former players that'll come up in different sort of clusters or groups of players. But the total list is Deckel Kanan, Jimmy McLaughlin, Andrew Wiedemann, Eric Stevenson, Kendall Waston, Garrett Halfhill, and Richie Ryan. Absolutely wild. I mean, this is exciting.
I love this. And this is why I love this specifically for us, is that every era of FC Cincinnati, other than like the successful one, where we've talked to a lot of the players from the successful eras of FC Cincinnati, but we'll say the building blocks of getting us to where we are now, you've got some originals. You've got Jimmy McLaughlin, you got Andrew Wiedemann, guys that were day one FC Cincinnati originals.
Eric Stevenson as well.
Eric Stevenson as well.
I think we've only talked to Wiedemann, right?
We had Jimmy and Michael Malay on
for
as a
TST
combo
episode.
for TST 2 years ago.
Yeah. But Michael Malay was the sort of the kind of the brains behind TST a little bit. So this will be fun to talk to Jimmy in this kind of a setting. But then you've got Deckel Kanan, who was from, if there was a glory days of USL, that was the Deckel era of USL right there. And then I am so excited. So excited. Not to short shift Richie Ryan and Garrett Halfhill, who, you know, that's fun. Richie Ryan was kind of a cult hero a little bit when he was part of the FC. Kendall Waston, who was an OG FC Cincinnati MLS guy. I am so beyond excited to talk to him and have him up on stage, just because he and Jimmy were part of year one of FC Cincinnati.
Yeah.
And man, was year one of FC Cincinnati just a gold mine of content. I'll put it that way.
Yeah. I'm excited about this. Garrett Halfhill. Not to reveal some of the research here, Chief. Garrett is one of a handful of people floating around that we could, reasonably talk to, who played for the New York Cosmos 2.0.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yeah, Cosmos, football, American soccer royalty. We've said this in the podcast before. If you don't realize it, I think it may have gotten cut from the Away Days episode when we were doing the Pele store we went to.
Yeah.
If there is one brand from American soccer that people recognize around the world, it is Inter Miami, because Leo Messi plays there.
Yeah.
If there is a second brand that people around the world recognize from American soccer, it's the New York Cosmos. And MLS, I don't know how well known this is. MLS has coveted the New York Cosmos brand.
Oh, yes.
For a while. And I don't think it's a secret that they were kind of playing off that with the name LA Galaxy, that you make a team on the other part of the United States and, that was the Cosmos. Well, this is the Galaxy out here. Like, they've wanted that. They wanted to bring the Cosmos in a brand ahead of NYCFC, and just City Football Group made them an offer they couldn't refuse. And then City Football Group, I think, tried to buy the Cosmos brand ahead of coming in. I think, like, Kevin, you know this story way better than I do.
So the Cosmos existed almost exclusively like as a clothing brand before, but was still owned by Rocco Cavizzo, who's a multi-billionaire, owns other clubs in Europe. And yeah, like he was ready to plop down the expansion fee to bring the New York Cosmos to MLS. And my understanding is, yeah, the City Football Group managed to make them a Godfather offer, and that's what slided New York Cosmos. And that is truly, like, that moment is what drove the New York Cosmos identity and Rocco's, like, you know, I guess, like, revenge story against MLS, that he was so upset that they were that they missed that he decided to turn the New York Cosmos into an anti-MLS, anti-US soccer entity. There have also if Red Bull ever gave up on New York Red Bull, that MLS would try to buy the New York Cosmos brand and merge the two entities and try to merge the history of both of them and try to create a united club there. So
that's cool
to keep an eye on. Yeah.
So it's a great lineup of FC Cincinnati guests of the history that got us to the 10th anniversary here. And I said this online. I mean this. Even if you don't have tickets to this match, I think that there will be something for everyone to come down and just sort of celebrate what an addition this has been to our community. I mean, down at Washington Park, if you just come down to Washington Park, Matt Boehner, Pat McMahon, Kadeem Dakers, Mathieu Duplan, Mark Village, and GB Fall signing autographs, meeting the people out there. Like, there is going to be former players everywhere around the various supporters group bars, Washington Park. This is going to, if you are on the fence about, hey, should I splurge for secondhand market tickets to this game? This is going to be a cool event on Sunday. If you don't have tickets, you can still come down to Northern Row, have a drink. The players that aren't up on stage will be signing autographs, posing for pictures, that sort of stuff. It's going to be a really cool event. I'm so beyond excited for this.
Yeah. And this is, the buildup to a massive full weekend of celebration, right? Because Saturday is the FCC 3, where they do the little race. You've got, obviously, everything that we've got going on pre-game at Northern Row with the Pride. The march is, because the various players are going to be at the different supporters group bars, the players are going to lead the march with the different groups. And so the march will ultimately be led in the end by all of the alumni players. Obviously, there's a game happening on Sunday. And then afterwards, there is the alumni match. What is it? Blue versus white, I think, were the teams that they did. And that'll be a lot of fun. I was curious what the goalkeeper situation was. They later clarified it is a couple of the academy goalkeepers. So hopefully we see a lot of goals. I want to see these guys score bangers. Okay.
Yeah, we need the version of Sprinkles that was required to let the kids score in the shootout back in the day. That would have been. Oh, that's a miss. They should have had two guys in Sprinkles costumes playing goal for this game.
Not too late.
Yeah,
it's not too late.
Put the Academy kids in a donut costume. Get on this, Carter. I know you're listening. Get some donut costumes and put the Academy kids in donut costumes for this.
You're telling me Dunkin' Donuts wouldn't love this? Come on.
Oh my God, easy money.
Especially if you can make, man, it's one of the greatest YouTube videos ever, where Jonah made the working donut mascot costume with the hole in the middle,
with the person contorted around. Like,
and what they'll do is they'll hold a very large cane, and that'll move the other foot.
Yeah, I am calling on FC Cincinnati right now. We need two donut costumes for the Academy keepers. You know what's funny too, is that it could lead to a big reveal. Like, you don't know who's in the donut costume. Then all of a sudden somebody sheds the costume and, oh my God, it's Roman Celentano, or, oh my God, it's Evan Loro.
Or it's Paul Rogers. I think it'd be fun to put the coach out there in a costume.
Oh my God, it's John Harkes. Who saw this coming?
Man, the John Harkes, Alan Koch coaching these teams would have been insane.
People fighting over who the manager is. Which team you want to be on?
You know who should be managing? It should be Ron Jans and Johan DeMay.
Yeah, it should.
The DeMay way.
DeMay still an assistant coach in Columbus.
Yeah,
crazy.
Yeah. Seems like we missed out.
The answer is Joe Su should be managing one of these teams.
Real miss not getting. I assume Joe Su's still playing. Actually,
I'm sure he's like with the Kerala Blasters right now. Old ones remember.
He actually did rejoin them like way later.
They could have the Kerala Blasters fandom manage as like a hive mind.
Yes.
Come back, Joe Su. We miss you.
I gotta look him up. Also, I thought it was hilarious that doesn't like Kendall Waston have like a game the day before with his current club?
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Okay, good.
That's none of our business.
That's between him and his club, man. He knows where he needs to be on Sunday. And that's with us on stage answering once and for all. What was the song?
Josu, I was wrong. He did not go back to the Blasters after FC Cincinnati, although he did go to the Blasters twice in his career, but is still playing in the fifth tier of Spanish football.
Get him back. What is he doing? Come on.
They're in the off season.
What city is he playing in?
What is this?
Catalonia. So maybe not Spain. And
well, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see who has the courage.
Yeah. And they play in a stadium, Estadi Municipal, 700 person capacity stadium.
Escala?
La Scala.
So there you go.
Yeah. Good for him.
Wow, this place looks beautiful. A population of 10,000. My God, he knows everybody in town, I'm sure.
Yeah, pretty cool. Joe Su, we miss you. Kevin, what's going on with the FC? Because it feels like everything is going on with the FC right now.
Nothing. We just went out and signed like 5 players. By the way,
hold on. La Scala?
Yeah.
La Scala and surroundings.
Okay.
Have 6 Michelin star restaurants.
Away days, possibly us.
The Costa Brava.
We're going to need to up the Patreon if we're going to do away days to España.
Yeah.
Get on that.
Get a real sponsor. Sell to a betting company.
Finally.
Right. Like a Russian betting company. It's like sovietbet.com/r.
Maybe we can parlay the Samuel Gidi signing to a deal with Nikkei.
Nikkei, yes.
The not Nike sponsor of the Slovak League.
Nor is it Nike if you happen to be British.
Yeah. No worries.
Nor is it the Japanese Stock Exchange.
The Nikkei. I like it.
Thank you, Kai Rizdal.
That's the only reason why I know.
This is Marketplace.
Yeah,
the Nikkei is down today.
Not the Nikkei.
We'll look at it when we do the numbers.
I love a good 5-second pause before the numbers too.
This is Marketplace.
You know who doesn't get enough credit is David Brancaccio, who does the morning one.
Oh yeah, that guy's pretty tight.
Yeah.
Kai Rizdal is like an all-time NPR name. Like named after a Bajoran priest. Like you can't beat that at all.
Yeah. He's really funny. He's like one of the most active Twitter or Blue Sky users.
Yeah.
I was going to say, there's no way.
There's no way Kyrie Irving's on Twitter anymore. Yeah, no chance.
Yeah, he jumped ship.
Yeah.
I just had to get to a less toxic place for my marketplace content.
Oh, man. You're never going to believe this, but he spends most of the time saying, hey, actually, this is really bad for the economy.
Dude, facts are made up. Don't worry about it.
All right, what next?
What do we have next? My God, what don't we have next? FC Cincinnati is making so many moves. I am losing
remember that
track.
time we said that like there's not going to be any more moves besides Ender, Echenike? That was good. We were all wrong about that.
Psych.
I don't think I ever committed to that. I just said
no, but you were already pre-mad that there was only going to be an Ender, Echenike move in this window.
I just said don't expect anything, and that anything is a surprise, and it's pleasant.
It's like my grandfather used to say, World War II veteran, expect the worst, and if the best happens, you'll be pleasantly surprised. Well, count me as pleasantly surprised this transfer window.
This has been a number of moves. The first one we should mention just very briefly. We have talked about it a couple of times now, but it is official. FC Cincinnati has acquired up to $400,000 in GAM from the Vancouver Whitecaps for discovering Thomas Muller. Well done, FC Cincinnati. That was not the only player.
Wait, and the breakdown is important. Breakdown's important.
Yeah, breakdown's important, which I was pulling up right here as you were talking. Of the 400,000, it is 200,000 in 2025 general allocation money. Okay. That is important because we're about to talk about something else that was going to cost about $200,000 in general allocation money, give or take. Also, there's going to have to be at some point a international roster spot purchase because of what happens next. There will be $100,000 in 2026 GAM. And then a conditional $100,000 in 2026 GAM as well. So basically the $400,000 in GAM, only $300,000 of it is guaranteed that we know of. That's 200,000 of that is for this year. 100,000 is for next year. And also, in addition, there could be up to $100,000 more if things happen. We don't know what those things are. But the important part to remember, too, is that 2025 GAM, there's nothing stopping you from pushing it into the future anyway.
Right.
So they say it's 2025, 2026. It doesn't matter. Just know we have access to the 2025 now. And if we don't use it, it can all flow into 2026 anyway.
Mm-hmm. Dope. That is good business. And it does sound like this is one of the times where the discovery rights was used properly. Like we were genuinely in for him. We didn't get the opportunity to sign him. It does seem to have flowed the way it was designed to.
Which it should be pointed out that part of the reason why I think we got the $400,000 in GAM is that because Vancouver made Thomas Muller a TAM player in 2025 to become a designated player in 2026, that is a deal we were capable of replicating. We were capable this year of replicating Muller as a TAM this year, Muller as a DP next year, because there's going to be enough contracts coming off the books next year that theoretically we were in a position to say, yeah, we'll do that deal.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, what brings that above the, hey, you got a nominal amount of GAM to you got a decent amount of GAM. You didn't get the full 400,000 that I think Charlotte got. 100,000 is still conditional, but that is what brought us up, I think, above the level of just, hey, you get like a compliance amount of GAM here.
Okay, so I want to say something just really annoying for a second.
Please.
Chief, you mentioned that that the GAM from Vancouver can be pushed to next year, the 2025 GAM. You can use it in future years. That's generally true. The only caveat to that is that Vancouver is on the U22 model. So if that GAM came from their bonus GAM from using the U22 model, we have to use it this year.
But then couldn't we convert like that? If we're GAM short, we can move some of our. Yeah. We can screw this up, I think.
Yeah, I think it's a small enough number that you could probably, juggle enough stuff around to
launder it a little into the future. Yeah.
Okay.
I love this league so much. Like Just put all this in a website I can play with. Like have charts, have bar graphs. Let me know exactly what we have. But job well done overall, I think, by Chris Albright in this situation.
Yeah.
I don't have the numbers in front of me. I would be shocked if it wasn't the case that he is far and away the leading general manager of acquiring resources for players who never spent a single minute playing for FC Cincinnati. So,
yeah,
well, Charlotte's got at least 800K just from Almiron and Royce.
Right.
So it's a pretty nice chunk right there.
Right. We would need to go and do the math as to how much we rent sought from the allocation list in 2022 before they did away with that rule.
But the other bit of business that brought money into FC Cincinnati was the trade of Corey Baird to San Diego in exchange for
going to our rival. God, going to our rival,
going to, I believe, his hometown on this
Basically,
one.
yeah, he's from Escondido, California.
That's right. We do get $50,000 in GAM and a conditional $50,000.
Which I believe 50,000 is the least amount of money you can trade in GAM, I think.
Yes, it is.
Wow. Okay. So another way to put this is that Corey Baird as an actual player is worth up to 1/4 of what Thomas Muller was worth as a hypothetical player for FC Cincinnati.
I would tell my family that if I was Corey Baird, is that like basically I'm worth a quarter of Thomas Muller, not to brag.
We knew with the number of incoming players, a move had to be made. I think we have all sort of collectively decided that counting international slots doesn't really matter that much, but roster slots do matter. There is a hard limit on those. You cannot.
Oh, you can't trade for those. Yeah,
you can't just go out and acquire those. And so, yeah, you do the numbers, you run the numbers up, and yeah, we were going to be at least one over the limit.
So the Kai Rizdal reference right there. I love this. We're doing the numbers right here.
We're doing the numbers. Speaking of the numbers, Corey Baird was on a lot of salary. He was I think if most people were trying to come up with a list of potential exits, he was easily in the 4, I would say, usual suspects or common suspects that people would list. It's a shame it never clicked. I mean, when he was acquired, he was a sought after free agent. He was one of the best free agents on the market. However,
Say it.
Do we have to?
I think you do in this case because the opposite is true so often.
Chief was right.
Chief was right. Chief called it from the beginning. Chief never wavered, and Chief was always right.
Look, I don't love being right. That's a kidding. I love being right. No, Corey seems like a really good dude. Like everything I have read about him, everything I have heard from talking to people is that he was a consummate professional his time here. He worked hard in training. He was willing to play any position the team asked of him. I heard he was great at like public appearances. He was always good to do stuff for the team.
Yeah.
You know, I wish it would have worked out. Nothing would have made me happier than being dead wrong about Corey Baird. You know, it's just we signed a guy coming off a career year and we signed a guy coming from a completely different system than we played. And I just don't think he ever found his spot in FC Cincinnati. I don't think what they were asking him to do played to his skill set. And then I think it became a spiral a little bit of confidence, and he just never got going with this team. But kudos to Albright for getting something out of him in the beginning. And, you know, I'm not mad they signed Corey Baird. I like the fact that Albright is always trying and always looking for value and always trying to find something that works. He's an American striker that was on a sub Max Tam type deal, and it didn't work out. But like they didn't have to buy him out. They actually got some GAM for him. So that's job well done by Albright here. I wish we hadn't signed him in the first place, but this is this is a tactical retreat that I think makes sense for all parties. And good for Corey. He's going to a really good situation in San Diego with a team that will fit his style a lot better. And it's a very good team, too.
Yeah, I have a sneaking suspicion that Corey Baird is going to go to a team that got 10 goals in 12 appearances out of like a USL player.
Yes.
And so Corey may do very well there, and we're going to be really normal about it.
I will. The rest of y'all that were like hoping for more out of this might have a problem with it, but
I wish him all the best, honestly, just so long as he doesn't like beat us in MLS Cup
there's no
playoffs
doubt he's scoring a goal against us at some point in the future. Like that, like the next time FC Cincinnati plays Corey Baird, like take your retirement fund and hammer it on Corey Baird anytime goal scorer. I've never been more certain of something in my life.
Yeah, I feel the same way.
Yeah. Shame to see him go, but it does free up roster spot, frees up plenty of salary, although FC Cincinnati is still on the hook for some of his salary.
Yeah, his salary wasn't the important part. It was the roster spot they were trying to clear, I think, more than anything.
Also, if the salary is a problem, you can buy out the salary.
Yes.
Like they have 2 buyouts. It is owner money. Like it's money out of ownership's pocket that they got to use to do the buyout. So it's a little bit of a deterrence, but
we're famously the podcast that doesn't watch ownership's pocket. We're not pocket watching.
But how much money could it possibly be? Because you got like 9 games left.
I was going to say,
and it's a portion of 9 games of salary. It's not a lot of money. We're fine.
Yeah,
because we got the roster spot. We're all good.
He was not guaranteed for next year. He was on an option year, right?
Correct.
And plus, they probably got some extra value out of it by buying him out they would get some extra value by buying him out during the Ohio sales tax holiday, too, I would think.
I wonder if
the sales taxes, I don't know.
Just don't think about that joke too much.
Oh no. Oh no. You sold a contract, Chief. You sold a contract. Yeah. That's okay now. So that is the money coming in. That is a player going out. So now the backfill. This happened before we recorded the last one, but we did not talk about it. Ayoub Jabbari. Yeah, Ayoub Jabbari is acquired on loan from French club Grenoble, is probably close enough.
It doesn't matter. I'm not going to learn how to say
Grenoble.
I'm not going to learn how to say French stuff. Let's get out of here.
Thank you.
I got Duolingo shouting at me enough as it is.
But Jabbari, a very tall, big-bodied target forward, looks good in some of the advanced metrics. Was not a prolific goal scorer, although again, it's one of those where the measurables look good on him.
Yeah. So the scouting report on him is interesting because you look at his stats and you're like, okay, hasn't scored a lot of goals, has bounced around 2nd division of Spain, 2nd division of France. So you're not thinking about this guy coming in as like, oh, yep, this guy's going to slot right into the starting 11.
Right.
Right. But he's big. He's like 6'4", 6'5". If you look at his traits compared to other forwards, even though he's only net 25th percentile in goals, he's 95th percentile in touches, 72nd percentile in chances created, 95th percentile in aerial duels won, and 99th percentile in defensive actions. So just based on the profile, if you were looking for like a younger version of what Kai Kamara has been giving us. Somebody who can press, somebody who can hold up the ball, who can win balls in the air that are played over top of the midfield. Somebody who can be a useful outlet that players like Evander and Denke can play off of. This might be that profile. So I would say the profile that I want for a striker is somebody who's going to score a lot of goals. Right. But if you were looking at our team and you'd say, what is a non-prolific goal scoring profile that would really help our attack, I think this meets those needs.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a perfect addition for a team that has discovered this year like two things. I think this, and I don't think this is a knock on Chris Albright either. I think this is just that you build a roster, and building a roster, you don't really know what you have until it starts playing games. And I think this team was built in a way that they thought would favor the style that Pat Noonan wants to play, which is Pat Noonan wants to play very tough defense. They want to play with the ball from the back, and they want to play through the high press and get into the attack. That's the idea of the Pat Noonan system. And somewhere along the way, they realized they're not really that great at playing out from the back. And we've talked a lot as to why we think the reasons for that are. So I'm not going to rehash them. But what they did to address that was they went out and they were like, hey, who is the best target man striker we can get that fits our roster profile? And that was Kai Kamara. And we talked to Kai, and Kai was like, yeah, I've been wanting to come here for a while. So that deal felt very serendipitous. And you can see that when they signed Kai Kamara on this team started to play more direct. It offers Roman or Evan or whoever's playing goal the ability just to bomb the ball downfield. Kai plays hold up, offloads to somebody else, and that's how you go. You bypass the first run of passes completely. The problem with that is that Kai Kamara at this stage in his career is probably only a 60-minute guy, and you don't want him playing, Saturday, Wednesday, or Sunday, Thursday. That's not the most optimal usage of him. With this new signing, this is an opportunity to have a player who can come in for the remainder of those 30 minutes and make it so that you can still play direct, that you're not making a choice when you take Kai Kamara off the field, that now you don't have that big target man up top to play through. So this type of signing to me has made all the sense in the world since Kai got here.
Yeah.
And, the other point I don't think we've made yet is they're bringing him on loan with a purchase option. He's not a U22 signing like Ender is, because he's too old. But he's not going to be like a big dollar signing, I assume, either, given where he's been playing. You only got to cover, 9 games of his salary anyway on your budget. And I think what makes this different from the Joe Akini signing, because you could find surface parallels to the Joe Akini signing from last year. You could say like, okay, well, it's a striker playing in a I think second division European league, not getting a ton of time.
Yeah,
probably not going to be super impactful. I think the difference is the expectations.
Yeah.
Where we were hoping, like they were bringing in Joe Akini when they whiffed on Berterame and Josh Sargent.
They handed Joe Akini a starting spot too,
and they handed him a starting spot, right?
And Joe Akini was a two-digit MLS goal scorer. Like there was reason to have some optimism.
I don't know about that, but whatever.
But he scored as many goals as a roughly similar number as Corey Baird did.
And how'd that work out?
The reasoning behind signing Corey Baird is the same reasoning behind signing Joe Akini.
So
let's never use that reasoning again. Then
my point is that the team was sorely desperate for a striker.
Yes, and
Joe Akini was coming in to be that guy.
Yeah.
And there were a lot of reasons to assume he was unlikely to be that guy. However, our guy Jabbari here is not coming in to like be the guy,
no,
or even particularly like a guy. He's coming in because of his profile. To, I think, likely the expectation is he's depth or a sub, or maybe if Kai needs a break and he really impresses, you give him a start in a random game. But he's here to be a profile, to do the kinds of things that he's been doing in Europe, not to be the center point. of the offense, not to be a star striker. We have that,
Yeah.
you know? And so I think it's, even though it's like a guy with a not super impressive profile from a club and goal scoring standpoint, I think people should not be thinking about this the same way they were thinking about the Joe Aquini signing, really, at all. Like this fills, I think, a decided need in the depth in the roster. And so for that, I like the signing. You know, we'll see how it goes. Maybe he really impresses, you know?
Yeah.
But we'll see.
And it's entirely possible we never see him. And
it's true.
It wouldn't even necessarily be a bad thing. The way I'm looking at this is an extended tryout, basically. Like, if he can impress in training and look good, but Kai is still the trusted starter day in and day out, there will come a time where this season ends. The decision will need to be made with Kai. And you may very well make the decision that, Kai, we're ready to move on from you, but we already have your replacement in training, familiar with our system. We trust him, and we think he'll take another step forward next year. I think this makes a ton of sense. And what we'll talk about next, and with the Echenike signing, is this is what we've been hoping for, and clearly what they were building towards, which is using these U22 or other younger players as the depth to the starters. Echenike, Jabbari, and Gidi, is that these guys are all young. Their floors and ceilings can be all over the place. I think they all have high ceilings, though. And if they work out, great. And if they don't, it won't hurt the team. We're not reliant on one of these guys stepping up. You can certainly, devise the Rube Goldberg of misery that would cause them to be a genuine problem on this team, but other things will have to go wrong for them to be a genuine flaw.
So let's get into the next signing, because then I want to talk about what this means overall, I think, because I think there's some interesting trends emerging from the FC Cincinnati transfer profile, shall we say, because we get the last of the summer transfer signings in earlier this week, and that's Gidi that you referred, Samuel Gidi, I believe, who you referred to earlier, Kevin.
Yeah, Samuel Gidi comes in from the Slovak league, the Slovakian league. He is a midfielder, and he is coming in on the U22 initiative. He is a out-and-out transfer in this case, so not a loan. He is coming in. He's ours as long as we want him, I suppose.
It's reportedly a $2 million transfer.
Which is a good number there. We've seen a lot of successful players come in at around that number on the U22 initiative. So I am excited for him, but the problem I had is I don't really know much about him. So later on in this episode, we were able to talk to a scout who's based in Europe, works for Eastern European or Central European club, who has scouted him and was able to talk to us about it. So we'll check that out here in just a moment. But he is certainly profiling to me as the Pavel Buka, potentially Yuya Kubo understudy in this case. And he fills a desperate position of need, which is another midfielder that we can trust to take on grown man professional minutes. And I'm glad that Albright finally filled this role. It is something that has needed to be filled for 2 years. So I'm glad we have it.
Yeah, he is if you are thinking as you've been listening to this podcast, man, what does FC Cincinnati need on their roster right now? This is exactly the guy you are imagining.
Yeah.
And he is a U22. So we got to always enter the caveat that this is a younger player making the transition. He's a Ghanaian by birth, has been playing in Europe and will be making the transition over to North America. He's an older U22. He's 21 years old, so he's not quite like the 18-year-old, 19-year-old. That does make a difference, I think, in terms of what you can expect from a U22 player coming over. So he's a little older, still a kid, though, by any reasonable measure of this. But he is a ball-possessing, ball-winning midfielder. His profile almost looks like if you mashed Pavel Buka and Obi together, this is the type of person you would imagine. He is a person that is comfortable with the ball at his feet and comfortable with taking possession of the ball from other people's feet.
If you look at his like stats profiles, you see very high numbers in interceptions, defensive duels, but also progressive passes, pass completion percentage, progressive runs, dribbles. So it's very much like you said. He looks to be somebody who is both a ball winner and a ball progressor,
right?
Which is I think something that like Obi on a good day, Pavel on a good day, right. It's like so similar profiles. So I know people are high on the Ender Echenike signing. We got kind of a glimpse of that in his match. I am over the moon about this signing because not only is this a guy who I think can contribute immediately when he gets over and gets acclimated into the country, into the team. This is a guy where I think there is a incredible upside potential for this style of play in Major League Soccer. And what you are buying here is you are buying short-term depth and long-term insurance against, we don't want to talk about it, but you can only say Pavel Buka is the MVP of this team for so long before Pavel's agent is like, he needs to be paid like the MVP of this team. And that's tough from a math point of view. To me, I think you pay Pavel all the way through to Max Tam. The conversation gets harder after that. Yeah.
And then, Pavel might decide he wants to move on. He might want to move back to, closer to home.
Yeah. He might get scouted by a Bundesliga club like he was before he was signed here.
Right. Yeah. So you don't know what the circumstances are going to be, but these are the types of players that the U22 initiative was made for, is getting guys like this that not only fit immediate needs, but that can fit long-term roles as well. And not only that, too, I am fascinated that this team is scouting a very, very particular areas of the world.
Yeah.
And that this team now quietly has a very interesting African pipeline and a very interesting South American pipeline and a very specific region of Africa too. So like they've identified, and I know this team is incredibly, they don't talk about it a lot. This FC Cincinnati team is incredibly data analytic driven in terms of who they scout and what leagues they scout and what backgrounds they scout. And it's interesting how this is breaking down into a very specific parts of the world that they are scouting from. And I think it's fascinating from like a meta and a roster building perspective. And it's not something you see a lot of in MLS for what it's worth. You don't see a lot of teams with heavy African presences in MLS. And maybe we're finding a little bit of a underdeveloped talent pipeline for the league. I'm kind of excited about this.
Yeah, it's so some other interesting stuff about Gidi. So he's coming from MSK Žilina, and it's funny because his academy was MSK Žilina Africa.
Yeah,
the Slovak team he played for owns a soccer academy in Ghana, I believe, and he was actually earlier this year an organization called the International Center for Sports Studies, which is a joint venture. It was created as a joint venture between FIFA, the University of Neuchâtel, which is in Switzerland, and the city and state of Neuchâtel. So I guess it's a public-private
Public-private partnership. We have Jeff Birding on Sunday. This is going to get right up his alley right here.
So this organization, the International Center for Sports Studies, the CIES Football Observatory, focuses on statistical studies of football-related matters. They put out a list this year of the top 10 under 21 players worldwide in various profiles. And Gidi made their list.
Whoa.
As the number 9, they called him, they put him in a category called assisting midfielders.
Okay.
It says the assisting midfielders category gathers together players who stand out above all for their strong involvement in creating chances. So this came out, I guess, December 2024, so middle of the previous season.
Okay.
So I thought it was interesting to see that he was included on that list, like worldwide.
Yeah.
Of under 21 midfielders. And the other thing that I thought was really interesting is Slovakia hosted the U21 Euros this summer.
Yes.
And apparently Gidi was in the process of getting his Slovak citizenship and I haven't been able to verify if he ever actually got it.
Right.
But apparently the coach of the under 21s team thought so highly of him that they were calling him in to warm-up camps for the U21 Euros, even before he had his citizenship done.
Yeah.
They were just hoping that he would get it in time to be included in the team. And I think that, I know Albright likes to have national team players. I think that's interesting. I don't remember the last time I heard of something like that.
Yeah.
Where you're calling in an ineligible player into a national team camp to get ready for a major tournament. So I think that speaks well of not just his abilities, but also, his character, his ability to adapt to new environments, right? Because we're talking about somebody who moved to Slovakia as a teenager.
Yes.
And I guess, was so impressive overall that they were trying to include him in their national team setup.
Yeah.
So I have tried to figure out if he ended up getting that Slovak passport. I know he didn't get it in time for the Euros, for the U21 Euros this year, but I don't know. It'd be interesting to see if he actually ended up getting that. But I, like Chief, am very high on this signing.
Yeah. And
that is not going to change even if we don't see him play a minute this year.
Yeah, same. This is 1,000%. If he can come in and offer good minutes this year, that is just value add. This is absolutely a signing for 2026 and beyond. And like I said, this is a player profile that is purpose built for success in MLS. That's not saying he will be successful in MLS, but if you just look at the underlying metrics and you look at what the skill set is here, I don't see how you can't be thrilled about this. I think this is a home run on paper signing for Albright right here.
Yeah, I think these two signings in different ways, Jabbari and Gidi, are signings where you look at their profiles and they match a clear need for this team. And I think, as Chief said, we've seen, Albright, we've heard a little bit about how data driven the team is. And, I think to find these guys is really impressive, especially in the summer, especially at, transfer fees and salary levels and ages where you can slide them in nicely into the roster.
Yeah.
I think between Ender, Jabbari, and Gidi, that's a very nice summer window. And again, even without getting anything from these guys this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just based on the business you've done.
And it's important to note too, they did their DP business in the winter.
Yeah.
It's fine, But then you've got to come in the summer window, and this is the type of stuff you have to do. You're building your youth now, where you have your veteran experience that you've already brought in. This is. I didn't have high hopes for this window, given how cash strapped this team was. My only real hope, we talked about this months ago. My hope is that this team has U22 spots to use.
Yes.
And we came into this window using one of our U22 spots coming into this window, I think.
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah. Now we're using 3. That's good, because what you've done now is they still have another U22 spot to fill, but that keeps that spot open for opportunistic signings in the winter. Yep. And what it also does is that after some salary moves off the book this winter, you have the opportunity and you are still free to decide if you want to maintain on the U22 model or the DP model. So what they have done, in a sense, is they have managed to, while being salary cap space and roster space stretched, to add 2 quality young players in this window with Echenike and Gidi, a interesting tools and skill set fit in Jabbari, and you still have the opportunity and you're preserving your options for the future. So if this is it for the window, and I assume that this is it for the window, unless somebody else goes out, I don't see somebody else coming in. I think this is a home run window for Albright, and I think it follows a home run window in the winter window for Albright. So this is about as far removed as you could get from the podcast we did at the close of last summer's window.
Like, we were right then.
We were. Yeah, we're also the podcast that gets it right. So,
because I think there's always like a hesitation to be like, well, where are the Albright haters now?
Right.
Well, it's like, well, I don't know. We didn't like the window when it was bad. We like the window when it's good.
Right. Yeah. And none of us thought he sucked last year. It's just like, you screwed this window up. It doesn't mean you're a bad general manager. Yeah.
They didn't do enough to win a trophy last year.
Yeah.
Maybe they did enough to win a trophy this year. We'll see. But that means they did a good job this year and a bad job last year. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that.
Right? Yeah. I'd argue they've done enough to win a trophy this year.
I think they've done enough to win a trophy this year. And what I base that on is that this roster now, because we get news this week that Kevin Denke is back training off to the side. We get news that Yuya Kubo is back training off to the side. I think that getting Yuya Kubo back healthy as a reserve and a substitute will be massive for this team. I don't think people fully understand how big it will be if Yuya Kubo gets healthy at some point in the next couple weeks. Yeah. But now all of a sudden you were talking about there is going to be, knock on wood about health. This is suddenly a very deep team with talent.
Yeah.
To a level that I don't think we have seen ever. Even in 2023, this team was scratch and don't worry about what you're going to find underneath the surface. The starting level on 23 was outstanding. Mm-hmm. But this go around, the depth on this team is really something that could be a difference maker down the stretch.
We just need, for the love of God, everybody or most of the key players to be healthy at some point. And that's not a complaint. It's just it'll be a travesty if you don't get
the team
a close to fully healthy team at some point, because
it's trending in the right direction though.
It is trending in the right direction, but somebody else.
I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it either. No, I'm not going to say it either. No, I'm not going to. No, you know what? I am going to say it. I'm going to be that guy. This is a very different situation than it has been in previous years, because this is a team that is getting people back. And it's not wish casting. It's oh no, the inside word is that Denke will be fully training this weekend and next week. Kubo coming back. You've got new players coming in. Ender Echenike is already getting minutes. He already got his first minutes with the team. He should be fully ready to go and to start playing significant minutes and significant bench minutes imminently. I wouldn't be surprised if we see him starting tomorrow when you listen to this on Thursday.
Yeah.
You get Jabbari over here, you get Gidi over here. If you can get anything out of them in September and October and everybody else stays healthy, you suddenly have a lot. Suddenly, when Pat Noonan looks down the bench, there are players on the bench now.
Yeah. I will say before we throw it over to our interview here, it is something I learned in the interview, and it's got me giddy for Gidi, if I may.
Ooh, I like that.
He played 6 matches at center back. So the fact that he was on that, assisting midfielder list around the world, but was also being deployed as a center back, I think is very interesting and just allows me to once again hope and dream for that center back defensive midfield hybrid player that I've always wanted.
There's a moment in the interview, I'm not going to spoil it, where my ears perked up quite a bit. when Michal said a particular thing, and I think everyone's going to know what it is when we get there. But man, I don't want to build up expectations too much, but I love this. I love this signing.
Yeah. This is, I think you can judge things at different stages. If you're judging this signing right now, this is a home run. It may very well not pan out that way. Things happen, but I think we're looking at it good right now. But here's the thing. We don't know much about this guy, right? So that is why we were able to reach out to Michal Wojcik.
I think it's Wojcik.
Wojcik. It's the Polish names, man. That's why Schwei is Schwei, okay? But he is a scout. He knows more about Gidi than we did, so we were able to talk to him a little bit about the leagues he works in scouts, Eastern Europe, soccer in general. So it was a fun conversation. I hope you enjoy it. When we come back on the other side, we'll look ahead to the 2 matches in the next couple of days, and then we'll get you out of here. All right, and joining us here, this is special for us because this is not something that we get to do all that often. We have a guest here that I would be shocked if you knew who this was, but I am so glad that we were able to find him. No offense. But what we have here is a European scout by the name of Michal Wojcik. That's how I'm going to get as close as I can.
I think he said Wojcik.
Wojcik. Okay. So, Michal Wojcik, thank you so much for coming on here, man, because we have lots of questions about FC Cincinnati's newest signing, and we need an expert. So thanks for coming on. How are you doing this evening?
I'm doing good. For me, of course, it's evening. For you guys, it's noon, I think, or like close by the noon. So it's kind of a time difference, but it's still it's good. It's going good with me. How about you guys?
We're living it up over here. Okay. FC Cincinnati's having a good season and is apparently signing midfielders, which is something that we personally have been begging for all year. And from the looks of things, it looks like we got a good one. But before we dive into that, I want to know a little bit more about you. What are you doing over there in, I believe it's Belgium, and what has drawn you into soccer or into football?
Yeah, so I work as a scout for I'm originally from Poland, but I live in Belgium. But the way it's brought me in that direction, that I work for a Czech team. So it's like even a third country. And I'm working now around 3 years in scouting. So since I was 18, 19, and this is now my 3rd team that I work with. The second one in Czech Republic, I started off with the Norwegian team. And so now I work with Czech team, and it's going decently, I suppose. So yeah.
What is what's the hardest part about being a scout or in your position? What is the trickiest thing to sort of get your mind around?
Because of course I do not really decide who we sign, but I'm just like making the reports and like having the talks with like the head people. So it's just like finding the place individually by sorts, like different sources, like for example data, or like through really like watching multiple leagues that are around from the countries around us. So it's to really find the player that will fit us tactically and like our league system, for example physically, because the Czech Republic has one of the most physical leagues in Europe. So for example, a weaker player in Western Europe could have a difficult time in our league, even if he has like decent statistics over there. So it's like really important to like find the traits that are important to the league and to what we actually need to add to our team.
I find it interesting because we hear that a lot on the Major League Soccer side, that the style of Major League Soccer is very different than a lot of leagues. And so they have to scout players that they think will fit that style. Do you find that to be true with most leagues, that there is a particular style of player or style of play that is maybe better suited for an individual league?
Yeah, of course. But also each player has like a preference, of course, what he does often. It's like you can change it, of course, if you, for example, now we'll talk about Gidi, for example. He can go to the MLS and it's like a more intense league than like the Slovakian competition. It's way more calmer. You can build up, the attacks are built up way slower. But for example, I know some of the MLS, I watch it sometimes, mostly just follow to the statistics and data. But it's way more intense, just like in the build-up, and it's gonna be a switch. But of course, if you train multiple times with the team, you play multiple games, you can also get a feel to it, and of course switch into more depth and improve in that work of feel as well.
So is MLS then more similar to like the Czech league in that way, or do you have any sense for how they compare?
It's way less physical. It's way
less physical.
Yeah, definitely physical. From what I feel in the MLS, because I sometimes watch, not very often, it's like a more offensive minded league than like defensive minded league. Where you can, even if you see to the abilities that most players can do, they're like more focused on the attacking side sometimes. And you see more defensive mistakes, or like easy mistakes, like in the midfield, that they lose the possession or like can get a quick attack against them, rather than like have solid build-up defense that are like really tight and doesn't let their opponents easily through. I feel like that is like more prone to the offensive side than like defensive side.
Yeah, that is interesting. It's certainly something that we see with like where salary is spent in Major League Soccer, right? You have a lot of your star players are brought in as, the big money strikers and wingers and attacking midfielders, and whatever's left over gets spent on center backs and defensive midfielders. So
yeah.
So I am excited about Gidi, I guess is how we pronounce it.
Yeah, just like Samuel Gidi. Of course, I'm not Slovakian as well, but I think it's sort of like that,
Yeah.
It doesn't sound very difficult as well.
Perfect. So what can you tell us about him? Because I saw you'd posted some stuff online that you were impressed with this young man. So I'm curious what your overall thoughts are on him as a player.
Yeah, so I thought personally that he will stay in Europe and go to like, not for example the standard definition of a top 5 league, but have like a small step to towards a better league. But this comes didn't expect it fully, but it's something that could work for him, and you see more often, because also for a player, for example, from Eastern Europe, like from an African country, you don't see it often to move like overseas, but rather to stay like in Europe, play like in multiple different leagues, and then work up. And that's something that's different to this transfer. But for example, with Gidi, I like him because he's very versatile. At Zelina, that has their own academy in, for example, in Africa. I don't know which country specifically, but
I believe it's in Ghana.
Yeah, in Ghana. Yeah, they have multiple players that come each year from Africa to Slovakia to play for them and get developed to their second team that play in the second division of Slovakia and then go up to the first team. So Gidi is one of them, and he was like one of the best projected from them from last 2 or 3 years, and has as well played a lot of games for his age. He's 21 and he has almost 50 plus games, maybe 3, maybe even more from in the first team of Zelina, which is quite good for a player in his age.
Yeah, I that blew me away when I saw specifically like the minutes played last season for a team that finished second. He had like 2,200 minutes or something like that, like an incredible volume of contribution for a very good team for such a young player, or on the younger side. I mean, that really stuck out to me. And I don't know how familiar you would be with him, but are you at all familiar with another FC Cincinnati player and a favorite of ours, Pavel Buka? I'm curious because in my mind, Gidi will be a sort of Buka understudy, like a second off the bench for him. So I'm curious how he might compare to him, or if you're familiar with Buka at all there.
Yeah, I'm slightly familiar with him. Of course, he moved to like 2 years ago to Cincinnati or something. I don't know, but he played in the Czech Republic. I remember from that because, of course, I watch multiple European leagues. But he could be like start off like a substitute for him because height-wise, they're almost identically the same from what I know. They're around, I don't know, I will tell it in European measurements.
Tell the meters, and people can
around
Google
125 centimeters. So their profiles might be quite similar. And also, if you look at their like heat maps and all the other parts of the game, they are very close, but Gidi has been a Swiss knife for Zelina because he played the last 2 seasons sometimes as a center back, sometimes as a normal central midfielder, sometimes as a defensive midfielder, sometimes even higher as an almost attacking midfielder like a wing back. He was used in multiple different ways for Zelina. And that's what also made him special because he can play multiple positions. And as a player that's not very tall, he was 175 and he played shifts as a higher attacking center back that can go push higher up the field than like a normal one. And that's what also made him a bit special for Zelina as well. And for a player that's 175 centimeters. He was actually doing quite well in physical duels over in Slovakia, where you don't always have a lot of duels, but when they happen, they're they're pretty physical. So, and he was actually competing quite well in the air as well, which is also a good trait for him. And his physical build, like in total, looks quite well. And so possibly he could be a decent player as well for an MLS, which might be on like a similar level physical wise than us over there, maybe even less. But he might be a good fit anyway for the league.
Do you have a sense of how, when he plays central midfield, how he does as like a ball progressor or in build-up play?
So he mostly played as a box-to-box. So he would get the ball like lower, and he just passes it around. He isn't your typical guy that will get you, for example, an assist or like get a deep ball forward and that's like directly influence the goal. But it starts up he's rather a guy that starts up the attack and gives connects multiple players with them. Like he gets the ball from the left winger, he passes it to the right, gets it from his attacking midfield, and he starts off the attacks, let's say, and that's what also makes him well. But that's something he kind of misses, like in the total picture, like the goal contributions as well, because he has, I think, 2 goals and 2 assists last season, which is kind of unfortunate, but he doesn't shoot very often as well. He doesn't even enter the box very often. So he rather stays on the outside of it, and when the ball comes back from the box, it gets cleared from like the defenders of the opponent, he just goes back, gets the ball, progresses it a bit, and gets the attack going again. So it's not like a guy that will most often shoot from distance, for example.
Yeah. It sounds exactly how FC Cincinnati deploys Buka, for example. So that is right in that wheelhouse. What is maybe a weak spot in his game, or to put it more charitably, something he could stand to improve from what you've seen?
So, like I said, definitely like the attacking threat, as he rarely shoots, enters the opposition box, but like has a low output in like the real assist kind of thing, but it's also not very important because he starts off the attack with like it's you always want to have like a player that can like give a long ball and like let it go through the defenders and like have a quick attack and a quick goal, but it's not very special. His ball control is all right, but he can sometimes lose the ball on like simple possessions. For example, a bit of a hard first touch, a pass that goes just not enough, that hasn't like enough power, and it can happen and lead to like some defensive, not particularly like deep defensive mistakes, but still like gets you a counterattack against your team. So it's not, there aren't like very big parts, but it's still some parts that can influence the attack. And also for the ball control, like bad passes, for example, he can sometimes struggle under hard press. And or like pressure gets pressurized because he doesn't take a quick enough decision and like can lose the ball because he gets outpaced. You could say mentally, because he can't decide like, oh yeah, will I pass or go dribble past the guy, or like go sideways and just get the ball to the center back to like build up the attack again. So it's a kind of in between, like those two are his biggest ones. And maybe that's also like, because it was kind of inconclusive, because one season he was way better at it and last season he was way worse at it. Like sometimes defending 1-versus-1 duels, like he can get dribbled past sometimes quite easily, mistiming him when he steps in, or like pressing his opponent way higher than he needs to, and just in general like losing coverage of the space behind him and gets leave space open.
Yeah, to see that sudden change from season to season, I would also be curious if there was like a coaching or tactical decision, maybe influencing some of that. I am curious though, maybe a little broader picture. Again, you've looking at a lot of these leagues, particularly in Eastern Europe, we have seen a slight uptick in the number of Eastern European based players moving to Major League Soccer. Do you see that happening more and more often? It does feel like an untapped market for Major League Soccer to get into and find talent.
Yes, it definitely slightly is. I even have that feeling, for example, when I watch sometimes the Western European teams, like that's sometimes you can get some good value out of there. And sometimes you see like players go from Eastern Europe to like the Western European League and do well for like very, not particularly like very cheap money. For like, for example, for Belgium, like 1 million, 2 million is like a decent price to pay. And then they sell them further to like a better, like to France for 10 million, which is always good money. But the MLS has definitely seen a rise from like from the Balkan countries, but like more from like for example, Poland. I've seen multiple players go there. I know some playing there still. Also the Czech Republic. That like these kind of countries get more often like in the deals and get more often shipped to the MLS. And it's not particularly something bad, because also the recruitment in the MLS, I feel it's getting way better. It's not like, and the picture of the MLS in Europe as well, because back in the day, the picture of the MLS was like, you go to the MLS as a European to retire, get some money, and live in a good city and just play some calm football. And then that picture slightly disappears from here. Of course, some people still associate like a money move, like a cash grab at the end of their career. But for example, if you still, like even with FC Cincinnati with Denki, because he played at my country of Belgium, from South Korea, he rejected Lille. That's often plays in the top of the French division, who sometimes play Champions League, Europa League. Reject that to move to the MLS. It was kind of still like remarked in Belgium as he probably got way more money in the American and the France, but it's still like an interesting route to decide to go to.
Yeah, MLS is sort of caught between that, right? Like Thomas Muller just signed. Obviously, Messi is here. That are clearly end of career. You know, maybe they got a couple of decent years left in them, but certainly that retirement moniker. But then, yeah, you have guys like Denke, Latte Loth recently going to Atlanta. Similar story. Yeah, where these sort of younger guys that would otherwise go to Germany or France are ending up in MLS, which I think is interesting. I also think it's interesting too. You talk about moving from, say, Eastern Europe to Western Europe. It is funny, and maybe please correct me if this is incorrect, but my impression of it does seem to be that it is very geographic. That historically you would have to go from like the Czech league to the Bundesliga to England or something. Like it is literally moving east to west.
It's like it's still like not like a stigma, but it's still like you see the typical routes, you know, like for example, in Czech league, you often see guys move to Germany or like from the Polish league to the Italian league. It's like has some connections still, but it's like there are deals that happen often and still get done, but the people in the country are cautious about them, but they still happen. And in the end, it's football, so they will happen, and it's still going to happen if they keep the recruitment still going on in these countries.
Michal, I mean, thank you so much, man, for coming on.
No worries.
This was a blast. I'll put your Twitter in the show description, but yeah, we'll have your information out there. If people want to check out what else you're doing, maybe is there anywhere else they should go? Do you have a Czech team you'd recommend they follow?
Yeah, so the team I work at is FK Pardubice, but we're at the lower end of the table, but we're still managing, like for example, last season we still managed to not get relegated, and this year we're trying to do the same as well. But it's something I don't mind because it's also a challenge for me to do the work to improve the team as well. So it's a challenge, but it's a fun one.
Oh man, it sounds like you got your hands full over there. So thank you so much for coming on, and we wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
Oh, so a huge thank you to Michal for coming on. The time difference there can always be a little tricky, so we were glad we were able to make it work, and it was a good conversation. So we're learning things, and if people like this sort of thing, let us know. This was sort of the first time we tried to, seek out an expert to try to fill in some of our gaps here when it comes to a new player in a new league like that. I know it is one of my favorite things in the whole world of like when a player like Gidi signs, where you have like FC Cincinnati fans would be like, oh yeah, love this guy. I've been watching the Slovakian league forever. Like, nah, man, no, you're not. Shut up. Like, that's fine. Like, it's okay to not know things. So yeah, it was good to talk to somebody who actually does know a thing or two. So that was good. So that takes us now to, I want to say the weekend, but the next game is Thursday, likely the day that you are listening to this. So it is not that, but looking ahead to these matches in front of us, FC Cincinnati takes on Chivas Mexico, not Chivas USA, in Leagues Cup, and then Charlotte on Sunday, the big 10-year anniversary match. The Chivas game, I mean, I've said it before, this is a team that like maybe it would be fun to have a rivalry with, but we don't. They are eliminated. Chivas is eliminated from the Leagues Cup contention. Mexico has not done well in this tournament, such as how Leagues Cup goes. FC Cincinnati, while technically has a path to advance, things are looking pretty bleak early on this evening. 4 teams have already won that we needed to lose. It's not completely out, but Portland is also already winning. It's looking pretty rough. I think FC Cincinnati needs to win by like 7 or 8 goals to have a chance.
So on the table,
yeah,
Portland's still playing, but they're sitting at 9 points.
So nobody
If
can
that-
catch them.
If that result holds, we can't catch them.
Oh, Seattle can catch them later this evening. Sorry.
We can't.
But we can, correct.
Miami, we can't catch them. They have 8 points. Orlando's got 7 points, but they have a goal differential of 6. So it would take quite a thumping of Chivas to get them. So I'm going to say that we won't pass Orlando. So that's 2 teams that are done playing, Miami and Orlando, that we basically can't pass.
Yeah.
Columbus, sitting on 7 points, goal differential of 3. If we win by 2,
we would then pass Columbus because we would have 7 goals for to their 6 goals.
to their 6
for.
goals. Yep.
So
There
we
it
would
is.
like a 2-goal win
Jumps Columbus for
jumps
us.
Columbus as it stands right now.
But
But
Seattle
Yeah.
and Seattle still has to play. They're on 6 points. And they have a goal differential of 8. So they're going to if they don't
Tie and
lose,
Yeah.
if they don't lose, we won't pass them.
Yeah.
And then Galaxy can still get to 7 points.
and has +3 already. So a win would give
Yep.
them necessarily +4.
And Minnesota's playing right now. They're losing, but they're on 4 points. Red Bulls are on 4 points. Red Bulls have the same goal differential we do. So they play tomorrow.
Yeah.
So we'll know by the end of the night, not the end of the show, but we'll know by the end of the night whether we can advance or not. And it's not looking good.
I would say it looks pretty bleak right now. If Seattle Sounders win, I think it's over.
It's done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there we go. So we heard from Pat Noonan in the press conference today that they, no matter what the status is of the tournament, they had a plan or have a plan for how these 3 games are going to go. They do want to dip into their depth is, I think the way he phrased it, I don't have the quote in front of me. They planned on using their depth as well as the starters here. I know this is something that like a year or 2 ago in Leagues Cup, they were very upset that Roman basically sat out for a month, and they think that it really impacted Roman. And I don't think they want to repeat that with anybody, let alone the goalkeepers. The structure of the tournament's a little different, so you don't have that like full month of Leagues Cup, but I don't know what to expect in this one. Chivas is out. We could very easily be out.
I think that they have a plan that's a rotation plan for tomorrow or today when you're listening to this.
Yep.
I think that if they know they're out, that will accelerate, that there will be players that will, or they will increase the number of players that are 2-team players. They have a couple people that are on that are on the Leagues Cup roster from the 2 team that I would expect to see heavy minutes from if they know they are out. If there is still like a mathematical chance that they could go forward, I think you'll probably see something of a balance, but it would shock me to my core if they run out starters for extended runs, knowing that they're drawing dead on this tournament. And Pat has already said in the past that he does not view 20 minutes or 25 minutes as anything more than getting your workout in for the day. So you may see some guys coming in late just to get their workout in. But, I'm with you guys. I don't think there's any chance we can advance. The only scenario where I will be mad if we don't go for it is if there is an opportunity to knock Columbus out by winning two goals, a 2-goal game.
Yeah.
That will be when I'm mad if we don't go for it. But if if Columbus is already out too, because enough teams have bumped them out as well, I don't care.
Yeah, I don't think Columbus is going to advance.
I don't think so either, honestly.
Yeah, it's not looking good. The other thing is too, I mean, obviously, if there's an opportunity to win this, great. But if there's like a weird scenario where we have to win by like 7 goals or something. I don't think it's worth.
3 is the magic number. Like if they have to score win by more than 3,
okay.
there's no point. I think I think if down by 3, I think you've got to consider it a lost cause.
Yeah, because the thing is like the effort that the team would have to expend and likely, the extra minutes on the starters will impact Sunday's game. Mm-hmm. And I think desperately scrapping your way into this tournament, I don't know how I necessarily feel about that. Like it was tough to even get into this position. And the Leagues Cup then becomes a midweek tournament for the next couple of weeks. It's going to directly impact the Shield race, which FC Cincinnati is very much in and getting healthy. It comes down to, and I'm not saying I don't want them to go for a trophy. It comes down to which trophy you value more. And I'll be honest, like even if they lose the Shield race by 1 or 2 points, I want to make sure we finish in the top 2, top 4 at least in the Eastern Conference.
But also
there's
a measure of cutting your losses.
Yeah.
It's not even if you even if they valued the Shield,
mm-hmm.
if they were like way out of the Shield, then that maybe changes your calculation depending on results going in tomorrow.
Right.
But honestly, in my view, like I'll give my prediction right now. I think we'll lose 1-0. I don't think either team's going to be super motivated to go for it. I think both teams probably rotate a decent amount, and people are going to be like, "Oh, well, we lost to Chivas or whatever." But what kept us from advancing was not getting the job done against Juarez.
Yeah. No, they lost this. They lost this.
And that's what it is. Like they didn't get the job done against Juarez. I don't want to be too hard on them, but that was where you're in a very different position going into this game on 6 points than on 4. Yeah. Even going into this game on 5 points.
Yeah, I was going to say that exactly right. That like even if they won the shootout, you're essentially in a place where winning you're in against Chivas, which they missed that.
Yeah. So I mean they screwed the tournament up against Juarez. It is what it is. There's no sense rehashing it. I think they're going to win. I think they'll win 2-0, 2-1, something like that. Just because if they've got nothing to play for, Chivas has beyond nothing to play for, and just get them out of this tournament, get them out of this country. I'm going to give the advantage to the home team drawing dead versus the road team drawing dead that just doesn't care about this. So I'm going to say we win. I don't think it ultimately matters, and it's on to Sunday.
Yeah. Which
that said, like there's still like some fun guys on Chivas. Like if you can get it, if you don't have to take it to the game and you can get one cheap, you get to see the FC. There's some fun players on Chivas. I bet Chivas brings a decent crowd. Like I think you may still have a good time. Maybe even with like the game having no stakes, it kind of lets you just kind of party a little bit, Yeah,
just vibe. Like it just you can have a good time at a game without worrying about the outcome.
Just glancing at their roster, you got Alan Polito, Cade Cow, Richie Ledesma, like
Efrain Alvarez. Zlatan's going to be there. Zlatan's going to be there.
Favorite player. A guy that I love, and if you look him up on FOTMob, it's hilarious. Luis Romo. This is a guy that has saved any number of Football Manager and FIFA saves for me. If you look up what positions he's good at, well, that would be center back, defensive midfield, central midfield, attacking midfield, and striker, baby. He is a do-it-all, occasional Mexican national teamer. He's one of my favorite players. He's a blast. So there you go. Check out Luis Romo. And that takes us to Charlotte. The Queen Consort comes to town. It is the 10-year anniversary match. It is so funny. I almost do not care about this match. Like, obviously, it matters quite a bit. This is a good measuring stick against a okay Eastern Conference team. This is an important match in the Shield race. And yet, for me, everything about this game is everything surrounding this game. So maybe we should try to predict. Let me see if I can pull this up. It might be better to look at and give us a prediction for the alumni friendly Do we want to do that? Blue team versus white team. I'm going to give you the blue team roster, and then I'll give you the white team roster. We can make predictions here. The blue team roster is Matt Boehner, Austin Berry, Corbin Bone, Omar Cummings, Garrett Hathhill, Anthony Hoppenot, Deco Keenan, Jimmy McLaughlin, Pat McMahon-Bunn, Paul Nicholson, Eric Stevenson, Kenny Walker, Emery Welshman, Andrew Wiedemann, and an academy goalkeeper. So a lot of year 1, year 2 players. And then on the white team, Kadeem Dakers, Jamie Dell, Mathieu Duplan, GB, Justin Hoyt, Danny Koenig, Emmanuel Ledesma, Michael Malay, Francisco Narbonne, Richie Ryan, Kevin Schindler,
I think it's Mele Temgia, right?
Mele Temgia, Kendall Waston, and another academy goalkeeper. Folks, how do we see this one going?
I'm rocking Kendall's team.
I'm here for the fact that you think it's Anthony Hoppenot.
I said Anthony.
Anthony Hoppenot.
Isn't it Antoine?
Antoine Hoppenot, I believe.
Hoppenot? Is it Antoine? Antone. I mean, I'm not going to.
Yeah, that's Antoine. That's how it's always spelled. Like Antoine Walker.
No, the I is blowing my mind right now. Anyway.
Antoine.
So
Antoine.
My first thought in looking at these rosters is I
disagree.
can't pick against my boy Jimmy McLaughlin,
sure.
Heartthrob of Cincinnati, pride of the East Side, R.P. McMurphy's native, Penn Messi. I can't pick against him. But then I look on the other side and it's Danny Koenig and
Mathieu
GB,
Duplan,
Manu Ledesma, Mathieu Duplan, Kendall Waston, dude,
GB, Justin Hoyt,
Kadeem Dakers. Like, is this finally the moment where he shows out?
Yeah.
Is this finally the moment where like we see the player that just absolutely cooked us alive when he was playing for Lose City?
Oh my God. Kadeem Dakers, if people don't know Kadeem Dakers was an incredible USL player who absolutely torched us when he played for Louisville. We signed him as a part of our building a USL NASL all-star team, and he was not very good.
How funny would it be if, like, they say it's blue team versus white team, but they both get there, and then all of a sudden a Louisville City alumni team shows up and they're actually playing against Louisville?
Well,
it's a battle of 3 armies.
Blue is a lot of Louisville. Corbin played in Louisville. McMahon-Bunn played in Louisville. Kenny Walker. I don't know if he played for Louisville City. Definitely played for Louisville in college, and I believe is from Louisville. Maybe not. No, I have that wrong. But he went to college in Louisville. So
I'm betting right now, market in stone, white 2-1.
Whew. You think
on a
only
goal
3
from
goals?
GB, a goal from GB, and a goal from Danny Koenig.
Man,
and at least one Deckel smash going the other way.
All right. Very good.
I will also throw my my prediction behind the white team. I think that is where we go.
Let's do it. I'm excited about this weekend. Kevin, are you excited for this weekend?
I couldn't be more excited. I think this is going to be a lot of fun.
Are you excited for this weekend?
Yeah, one day it'll be behind me.
Dude, it's amazing our listener numbers are what they are with that level of excitement, folks. How can you resist?
Oh man, this is going to be a ton of fun. So come on out 2:00 or so to Northern Row. I think the event will kick off a little bit later, but don't leave it to chance. Okay, make sure you get
your seat, get your beer, get a little bit of food, have some fun, and always fuck Columbus.
The Cincy Postcast is a production of The Post Cincy. You can check us out online at thepostcincy.com. You can also follow us on Twitter and Blue Sky, Facebook, and Instagram. Twitter and Blue Sky, though, you'll find we're a little more active than the other places. We're also on YouTube, where you can listen to this episode if you aren't listening to it already. We are also putting up video content semi-regularly, including the Away Days series. We want to give a huge thank you to Jim Trace and the Makers for providing the music for this episode. They're a lovely band, and you can find more information out about them in the description of this episode. And if you happen to enjoy what you just heard, can I please ask that you like us, that you rate us on whatever app you're listening to, and maybe more importantly than all of that, share this episode with a friend. When it comes up at work, you're talking about FC Cincinnati, I say, hey, I listened to an FC Cincinnati podcast. I think you guys will like it. It would really, really help us out. Nothing helps a podcast travel more than a good recommendation from a friend, family member. That would be awesome. When it comes to the sorting algorithms that control our lives, a 5-star review would be much appreciated. Also, leaving a sort of written review weirdly does more than that. That's how the algorithms work. So maybe say a nice or a mean thing, whatever. Just as long as you give us 5 stars, that'll really, really, really help us out. And if you are looking for more MLS content, check out our other podcast, The World's GAM. Again, a link will be in the description of this episode. That is where we touch on league-wide storylines and news, and we talk about other games and a couple other teams in there as well. Think you will enjoy it if you are just dipping your toes into Major League Soccer. A huge thank you to all of our sponsors. A even bigger thank you to all of our patrons over at Patreon. But maybe most importantly, thank you for listening to this episode.